Hello everyone, welcome to the Persuasion Art channel. I'm Don, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic in personal development, how to deal with insults. Have you ever been in a situation where someone offended you and you felt completely devastated? Well, that's more common than you might think, but the good news is that there are strategies you can adopt to never be offended again once you learn them. The first tip is, never show that you were offended. On the contrary, show that you didn't even care about the words used to try to insult you. When someone tries to offend you, they are usually seeking a reaction from you. Don't give that person the satisfaction of seeing you shaken. This first tip for dealing with insults is extremely important and effective because its aim is to prevent the offended person from entering a spiral of negative emotions and being affected by the received insult. When someone tries to offend another person, they usually expect some sort of reaction, whether it's anger, sadness, tears, or any other negative emotion that shows the insult had an impact. However, by following this first tip, the offended person shows that they haven't been affected by the insult and that they aren't giving the offender the satisfaction of seeing them shaken. This can make the offender lose interest in continuing to offend the person because they realize their words aren't having the desired effect. Furthermore, when the offended person doesn't show that they were offended, they demonstrate self-control and emotional maturity in dealing with the situation in a healthier way. Instead of getting into a fight or argument, they choose to show that the offender's words have no power over them. In summary, the first tip for dealing with insults is crucial, as it helps the person avoid reacting emotionally and maintain control of the situation. By not showing that they were offended, the person demonstrates self-control and emotional maturity, which can discourage the offender from continuing their attempts to offend. Leave the offender in the role of being offended. Use the insult you received against the one who tried to insult you. If someone calls you something that is not true, use facts to show that it's not true. If someone calls you something that is true, use it as an opportunity for improvement. The second tip for dealing with insults is an intelligent and effective strategy to reverse the situation and leave the offender in the role of being offended. By using the received insult as a weapon, the offended person can shift the focus of the discussion and show that the insult didn't have the desired effect. If someone calls you something that is not true, the best way to deal with it is by using facts to prove it's not true. For example, if someone calls you lazy, but you work hard every day, you can showcase your achievements and successful projects to prove otherwise. This not only exposes the offender, but also demonstrates that the offended person has self-confidence and self-esteem to defend themselves. On the other hand, if someone calls you something that is true, it's important to see it as an opportunity for improvement. For instance, if someone calls you disorganized and you realize it's true, you can use it as an opportunity to work on yourself and improve in that area. Instead of being defensive, it's possible to transform the criticism into an incentive for change and growth. Using the received insult as an opportunity for improvement can also be a way to demonstrate emotional maturity and self-confidence. Instead of feeling ashamed or humiliated by the insult, the offended person can show that they are capable of recognizing their weaknesses and working on them. In summary, the second tip for dealing with insults is an intelligent and effective strategy to leave the offender in the role of being offended and turn the insult into an opportunity for personal growth. By using facts to prove the insult is untrue, or by considering criticism as a chance to improve, the offended person demonstrates emotional maturity and self-confidence. And if possible, use silence. In certain cases, the best revenge is to ignore. If someone tries to offend you and you simply don't respond, it can leave that person even more frustrated. You don't need to engage in a fight or argument to prove your point of view. The third tip for dealing with insults is to use silence as a strategy to show that the offense didn't affect the offended person. In some cases, the best revenge is to ignore and not get involved in a fight or argument to prove your point of view. Using silence can be a powerful way to show that the offended person is not easily shaken by someone else's words. If someone tries to offend you and you simply don't respond, it can leave that person even more frustrated because they didn't achieve their goal of provoking a reaction. Moreover, silence can be a way to avoid an escalation of conflict. Instead of engaging in a heated argument, the offended person can choose not to respond and prevent the situation from worsening. However, it's important to note that using silence doesn't mean the offended person is being submissive or passive. On the contrary, it's a way to show that they have self-control and the ability to choose how to react in a difficult situation. In summary, the third tip for dealing with insults is to use silence as a strategy to show that the offense didn't affect the offended person. By not responding, the person shows that they are not easily shaken by someone else's words, and they avoid an escalation of conflict. The fourth and final tip for dealing with insults is not to care about the insult received. When a person cares too much about an insult, they end up internalizing those negative words, which can lead to frustration and disturbance. An insult is only effective if the person feels offended. This means that the person has the power to choose how to react to an insult. If they choose not to care about the insult, they are choosing not to give power to the offender. Furthermore, if the insult lingers in the person's mind, they can analyze whether the insult is true or false. In both cases, it's possible to let go of the frustration. If the insult is false, the person can simply ignore it and move on. However, if it is true, the person can use it as an opportunity to improve and change behaviors that might be negatively impacting their life. In summary, the final tip for dealing with insults is not to care about the insult received. By choosing not to be affected by the insult, the person doesn't give power to the offender. Additionally, if the insult persists in their mind, they can analyze it to determine if it's true or false and use it as an opportunity for personal growth. Remember that how you handle insults is a reflection of who you are as a person. By adopting a more mature and assertive approach, you show yourself and others that you are capable of dealing with any situation. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." So folks, that's it. I hope these tips help you deal with insults in a more effective and healthy way. Remember that personal development is an ongoing process, and there's always room for improvement. Until next time.